In the dusty heart of 1880s Montana, where the endless plains met the jagged Rockies like a promise unkept, Eliza Harlan stood at the edge of Willow Creek town, her hands trembling as she clutched a worn carpetbag. The laughter of the townsfolk echoed behind her like cruel thunder, men in suspenders slapping their knees, women whispering behind lace handkerchiefs. Infertile Eliza, they called her, a label that had branded her soul since her marriage to the late Tom Harlan ended in childless sorrow and his untimely death from fever. Now, widowed and barren, she was the punchline to a vicious prank, shipped off as a mail-order bride to some rough cowboy in the wilds, a man no one expected to take her seriously. But as the stagecoach rattled away, leaving her alone under a vast, indifferent sky, Eliza whispered a prayer not for revenge, but for the strength to endure whatever joke fate had in store. The journey westward was a blur of bone-jarring roads and sleepless nights in creaky inns, where Eliza's mind replayed the scene of her departure. It had started innocently enough, an advertisement in the local gazette for brides willing to tame the frontier. But the town saloon owner, Big Jim Mallory, had seen an opportunity for sport. "Let's send Eliza," he bellowed one drunken evening. "That couple sent her back quicker than a bad steak." They pooled money for her ticket, forged a letter in her name, and bundled her off with mocking cheers. Eliza, with no family left and eviction looming from her tiny shack, had no choice but to go. She was 32, her once vibrant auburn hair dulled by grief, her green eyes shadowed by years of whispered judgments. In Willow Creek, fertility was currency, a woman without children was a ghost, unseen and unworthy. Yet deep down, Eliza harbored a quiet fire. A belief in kindness as the truest form of strength, taught by her late mother who had nursed the sick during the cholera outbreak without a thought for herself. As the stagecoach crested a hill, the ranch came into view, a modest spread called Eagle's Rest, nestled against a river that sparkled like liquid silver. Smoke curled from the chimney of a log cabin, and cattle lowed in the distance. Waiting on the porch was Jack Thornton, the cowboy in question. It was tall and weathered, his face etched by sun and solitude, a Stetson shading as the color of storm clouds. At 40, Jack had placed the ad out of quiet desperation, his ranch thriving but his heart empty since losing his wife and infant son to a blizzard 5 years prior. Eddie expected a sturdy pioneer woman, not this fragile figure stepping down with eyes downcast. "Ma'am," he said, tipping his hat, his voice rough as gravel but kind. "I'm Jack. You must be Eliza." She nodded, bracing for rejection, but he simply took her bag and led her inside, offering coffee without a word about her past. Their first days were awkward silences broken by practicalities. Jack showed her the ropes, mending fences, tending the garden, cooking over an open flame. He spoke little of himself, but Eliza glimpsed his pain in the way he stared at the horizon at dusk. One evening, as they sat by the fire, she confessed the truth. "They sent me as a joke, Mr. Thornton. I'm infertile. Can't bear children. You understand if you want me to leave." Her voice cracked, expecting the boot. But Jack leaned forward, his calloused hands folding over hers. "Folks can be cruel, Eliza. But out here, a person's worth ain't in what they can't do. It's in what they choose to give." It was the first unexpected turn, a man who saw her not as broken, but as whole. In that moment, a spark of trust ignited, fragile as a newborn flame. As weeks turned to months, Eagle's Rest became a sanctuary. Eliza threw herself into the work, her hands blistering at first but growing strong. She planted wildflowers by the porch, baked bread that filled the air with warmth, and mended Jack's shirts with stitches as fine as her mother's. Jack, in turn, shared stories of the land, the way the stars guided lost travelers, how a single act of kindness once saved his herd from rustlers. It taught her to ride, her laughter echoing as she galloped across the plains, feeling free for the first time. But beneath the budding companionship lay shadows. Jack's grief surfaced in quiet ways, a locked trunk in the attic holding his late wife's shawl and a tiny booty. Eliza's own heartache mirrored it, she'd always dreamed of motherhood, of cradling a life born of love. Yet in their shared solitude, they found solace. Kindness became their bridge, Jack helping a neighboring widow fix her roof, Eliza nursing a sickly calf back to health. It was selflessness in action, a reminder that humanity's power lay not in conquest, but in quiet uplift. One crisp autumn day, the unexpected deepened. A band of travelers, migrants fleeing drought in Kansas, camped near the river. Among them was a young mother, frail and feverish, with a babe no more than 6 months old. The woman, named Maria, collapsed that night, her body racked by illness. Elisa, drawing on her mother's lessons, tended to her with herbs and cool cloths, while Jack fetched the doctor from town, a day's ride away. But fate was merciless. Maria passed before dawn, her last words a plea, "Take my boy, please. Name him Samuel." Give him a laugh I couldn't. The infant wailed in Eliza's arms, his tiny fists clutching her dress. Jack returned to find her rocking the child by the fire, tears streaming. "We can't just, he's ours now," she whispered. Jack knelt, his eyes soft. "If you'll have him with me, Elisa. Ain't blood that makes a family, it's love." Adopting Samuel was no simple matter. In the Wild West, laws were loose, but hearts were tested. They buried Maria with dignity, then rode to the nearest outpost to register the child. Whispers followed, folks questioning a barren woman raising a foundling, but Jack stood firm, his presence a shield. Back at the ranch, Samuel thrived under their care. Eliza discovered motherhood in the mundane, the joy of his first smile, the exhaustion of midnight feedings, the profound realization that love wasn't born from her womb but from her soul. Jack, though, transformed, the haunted look faded as he carved toys from wood and sang lullabies in his gravelly voice. Their bond deepened into something unspoken yet profound, a partnership forged in fire. But Willow Creek loomed in Eliza's mind, a ghost of ridicule. One day, she confided to Jack, "I want to show them what kindness builds." Winter brought trials. A blizzard howled like a beast, burying the ranch in snowdrifts taller than a man. Cattle starved, supplies dwindled, and Samuel fell ill with a cough that rattled his tiny chest. Elisa and Jack worked tirelessly, her brewing teas from stored roots, him braving the storm to chop wood. In the darkest night, as wind screamed, Eliza held Samuel close, fearing loss anew. "Why us?" she wept to Jack. It pulled them both into his arms. "Because we're the ones who choose to fight for what's right. That's the power of being human, turning pain into purpose." It was a moment of realization. Their lives, once fractured, were mending through selflessness. The storm passed, and Samuel recovered, his laughter a beacon in the thawing world. Spring arrived with renewal. Flowers bloomed where Eliza had planted, and the river swelled with life. News from Willow Creek trickled in via a passing trader. Big Jim's saloon had burned, the town hit by drought, folks scattering. Elisa felt no glee, only pity. "They need help," she said. Jack nodded, and together they loaded wagons with surplus grain, blankets, and tools. Samuel strapped to her chest, Eliza led the way back, the infertile bride returning not in defeat, but triumph. The townsfolk gathered, faces gaunt and ashamed. Big Jim, humbled by ruin, approached first. "Elisa, we was wrong. Foolish." She handed him a sack of flour, her voice steady. "Cruelty's easy, Jim. Kindness takes guts. But look what it grows." She unveiled Samuel, the child giggling in the sun. Gasps rippled, miracle or not, here was life where none was expected. The climax unfolded in the town square, under a sky painted with hope. Eliza shared their story, the joke that became a journey, the cowboy's quiet generosity, the migrant mother's selfless gift. "We didn't plan this," she said, Jack's hand in hers. "But when Maria entrusted us with Samuel, it transformed everything. One act of compassion rippled out, healing wounds we didn't know we carried." Tears flowed. Women embracing Eliza, men shaking Jack's hand. Big Jim, voice breaking, pledged to rebuild with fairness. Supplies distributed, the town stirred with renewed spirit. Eliza's return wasn't vengeance, it was redemption, proving humanity's power to uplift even the fallen. As they rode home, Samuel asleep against Eliza's shoulder, Jack squeezed her hand. "You did good, darling, punto." She smiled, the weight of years lifting. Eagle's rest awaited, a testament to kindness's quiet revolution. In the Wild West, where survival was savage, their story whispered a universal truth: selflessness bridges divides, turning jokes into joys, barrenness into bounty. And in that, hope bloomed eternal, inspiring all who heard it to choose compassion, for in giving, we truly receive.